Hello, America. JOC here with your Ranting Politics headline updates, where we are diving into today's most explosive political stories that you need to know about. Coming up, President Trump makes his move on IVF access, signing an executive order that could reshape fertility treatment affordability in America. Then, our favorite tech billionaire turned government efficiency czar, Elon Musk, gets a judicial green light that's making Democrats lose their minds. We'll dive into a federal appeals court delivering a knockout punch to Biden's massive student debt program. And speaking of Musk, wait until you hear what he found lurking in the Social Security database. Apparently, we've got millions of immortals collecting benefits, or do we? Plus, China's throwing a diplomatic tantrum over Taiwan policy changes, and there's a fascinating twist in US-Canada relations playing out on the ice. Stick around. We've got all this and more, straight ahead with no filter and zero sugarcoating. In a major move that's sending shockwaves through the healthcare industry, President Trump just signed an executive order aimed at making in vitro fertilization more accessible and affordable for American families. And folks, this isn't just another piece of paper. This could be a game changer for millions of would-be parents across the country. The order directs the Domestic Policy Council to come up with concrete recommendations within 90 days on how to protect IVF access and slash those eye-watering treatment costs. We're talking about procedures that currently run anywhere from 12 to 25 grand per cycle. Not exactly pocket change for most Americans. Trump's making good on his campaign promise from last August when he told a Michigan crowd that under his administration, either the government or insurance companies would be required to foot the bill for IVF treatments. As he put it then, in his characteristic style, "We want more babies," to put it very nicely. Now, let's talk numbers because this isn't small potatoes. Early estimates suggest this initiative could cost around $7 billion annually, split between Uncle Sam and insurance providers. But here's where it gets interesting. We're still in the dark about whether Congress will need to step in to make these changes happen. The move is particularly noteworthy given the current political climate, with Democrats having claimed Republican positions on abortion might threaten IVF access. Trump's basically turned that narrative on its head, though it's worth noting that some anti-abortion advocates aren't thrilled about IVF, citing concerns about unused embryos. According to the New York Post's reporting, this is just one piece of Trump's broader middle-class benefits agenda. Though like his other proposals, including those tax reforms he's been pushing, the path through Congress remains uncertain as fiscal hawks voice their concerns about the deficit. A federal judge just dropped a bombshell decision in the ongoing saga of Elon Musk's controversial Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE as it's known in Washington circles. Judge Tanya Chutkan refused to block Musk and DOGE from accessing federal agency data systems or making personnel decisions, despite serious concerns about constitutional overreach. The ruling came after 14 Democrat-led states tried to pump the brakes on what they're calling unprecedented executive authority. They've got a point. We're talking about a tech billionaire who hasn't been confirmed by the Senate suddenly wielding significant influence over 7 federal agencies. But here's where it gets really interesting. While the judge wouldn't stop DOGE's immediate actions, she didn't mince words about the constitutional implications. She specifically called out what she termed serious concerns about violations of the Appointments Clause, basically suggesting that Musk might be exercising powers that should belong to properly appointed government officials. The White House has been scrambling to clarify Musk's role, insisting he's just a senior advisor and special government employee, not the formal head of DOGE. But let's be real. When you've got someone talking about deleting entire agencies and celebrating canceled contracts on social media, that's raising more than a few eyebrows in the Beltway. What's particularly fascinating is the judge's characterization of the situation. She called it unprecedented. A private citizen directing an organization with access to the entire federal government's inner workings, all without congressional oversight. The Justice Department's trying to downplay this, claiming there's not a single instance of Musk directly ordering these actions, but rather that they're coming from high-ranking agency officials. The implications here are massive. We're essentially watching a real-time experiment in government efficiency led by a tech entrepreneur known for disruption, operating with presidential authority, but without traditional checks and balances. Whether this ends up being a revolutionary reform of federal bureaucracy or a cautionary tale about executive overreach remains to be seen. Breaking news from the Eighth Circuit Court of Appeals today, where judges delivered what can only be described as a knockout punch to one of the largest student debt relief programs in history. The court has completely blocked the $475 billion SAVE plan, initiated during the Biden administration, ruling that it vastly exceeded constitutional authority. This sweeping decision puts an immediate halt to a program that had already distributed $1.2 billion to borrowers and had 7.5 million Americans signed up for relief. The court didn't just clip the program's wings, they grounded it entirely, with Judge Grass stating that the Education Department had gone well beyond its constitutional authority. Let's break down what made this program so controversial. The SAVE plan was trying to cut monthly student loan payments in half and even eliminate payments for minimum wage earners. For those owing $12,000 or less, it offered complete debt forgiveness after 10 years of payments. According to the Penn-Wharton budget model, this would have cost taxpayers nearly $500 billion over the next decade. Republicans had been crying foul, accusing the previous administration of trying to buy votes before the election. Senator Bill Cassidy, who now heads the Senate Help Committee, called it an outright abuse of power, arguing that it simply transferred debt from college graduates to taxpayers who either didn't attend college or already paid off their loans. The administration had tried to justify this massive debt cancellation by creatively interpreting a 2003 law originally meant to help Iraq and Afghanistan war veterans. But as Chief Justice Roberts noted in a previous ruling on a similar program, no education secretary had ever claimed powers of this magnitude before. This ruling marks the latest in a series of legal defeats for student debt relief initiatives, following the Supreme Court's rejection of a $430 billion forgiveness plan last year. With the Trump administration now at the helm and plans to potentially dismantle the Education Department entirely, the future of federal student debt relief programs appears increasingly uncertain. Stay with us as we take a quick break to hear from our lead sponsor, whose support helps make this show possible.
And creators. Have you crafted a product that's ready to break out from the digital world and hit the physical shelves? Imagine your creation sitting proudly in stores like Walmart, Target, and Home Depot, where 90% of purchases still happen. Well, it's time to turn that vision into reality with Product Fury. At Product Fury, we specialize in bridging the gap between online innovation and retail giants. In fact, we have secured millions of dollars of royalty deals for dozens of products at big box retail stores. Whether you're selling gadgets, home goods, or anything innovative, we're here to amplify your reach. Don't keep your product confined to the web. Visit www.productfury.ai today to submit your information for a free product evaluation. Let's get your products out of the internet cloud and into customer carts. Remember, that's productfury.ai. Make the leap from clicks to bricks and see your product thrive in the bustling aisles of major retailers. It's your time to shine on the big stage. Visit us now.
In what might be the most bizarre Social Security story of the year, Elon Musk has stumbled upon what he's dramatically calling the biggest fraud in history. According to Musk's recent revelation on X, the Social Security database lists over 20 million people as being over 100 years old, with some allegedly pushing the ripe old age of 369. Now, before we all start believing in vampires collecting government checks, let's put this in perspective. The Social Security Administration's own watchdog has actually known about this issue for quite some time. Their 2023 audit revealed 18.9 million people listed as centenarians, which is just slightly more than the actual 86,000 American centenarians currently living in the U.S. The good news is that almost none of these ghost accounts are actually receiving benefits. About 18.4 million of these cases haven't reported any income or claimed benefits for over 50 years. We're talking about records from before electronic death reporting was even a thing. But here's where it gets interesting. There are about 531 million Social Security numbers floating around out there, and some of these outdated records are being used for identity fraud. The 2015 audit found roughly $3.1 billion in earnings, reported using numbers that didn't belong to the actual holders. What's particularly fascinating is that many of these numbers are being used by undocumented workers who are actually paying into the system, not taking money out. They're essentially contributing to Social Security using numbers of people who passed away decades ago, but were never marked as deceased in the system. So while Musk's discovery might sound like a bombshell revelation, it's really more of a clerical nightmare than a massive fraud scheme. Though I have to admit, the idea of a 369-year-old collecting Social Security checks does make for quite an entertaining mental image. The latest chapter in U.S.-China relations just got a bit more complicated as the State Department quietly made a significant edit to its Taiwan fact sheet, removing the phrase, "We do not support Taiwan independence." Now, as you might expect, Beijing isn't exactly thrilled about this little editorial change. Chinese officials are demanding the U.S. immediately correct its wrongdoing, claiming this revision sends the wrong message to pro-independence forces in Taiwan. But here's the thing. The State Department maintains that absolutely nothing has changed about their actual position on Taiwan. They're still committed to keeping peace in the Taiwan Strait and oppose any unilateral changes to the status quo from either side. This delicate diplomatic dance has been going on for decades under the One China policy, where the U.S. recognizes Beijing as China's sole government while maintaining a carefully ambiguous stance on Taiwan. We don't have an embassy there, but we're still selling them weapons and helping with their defense. President Xi Jinping has made it crystal clear he's not ruling out military action to bring Taiwan under mainland control. Meanwhile, Taiwan, which has been self-governing since 1949, continues to insist it's an independent nation. The U.S. has been pushing back against Beijing's claims in its own way. Just last week, American and Canadian naval vessels cruised through the Taiwan Strait, drawing predictable protests from China. It's a classic case of action speaking louder than words, or in this case, deleted words. This seemingly minor edit to a fact sheet might look like simple bureaucratic housekeeping, but in the high-stakes world of international diplomacy, even small changes can send big messages. According to Fox News sources, this could signal a subtle but significant shift in America's approach to the Taiwan question. In what's shaping up to be much more than just a hockey tournament, the four nations face-off has become the latest stage for U.S.-Canada political theater. Bill Guerin, Team USA's general manager, expressed enthusiasm about the possibility of President Trump attending Thursday's final showdown against Canada at TD Garden, telling reporters they'd love to have the commander-in-chief there, supporting a room full of proud American players, coaches, and staff. This comes after quite a dramatic first meeting between these North American rivals, where Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau watched from the stands as Montreal fans loudly booed the American national anthem. Trudeau later stoked the flames on social media, posting a photo of the maple leaf on the ice with the caption, "Damn proud of this country." The tension on the ice mirrors the broader political friction between the two nations, largely sparked by Trump's recent threats of tariffs against Canada and his eyebrow-raising suggestion that Canada should become the 51st state. He even went as far as referring to Trudeau as governor, a remark that didn't exactly smooth things over. Trump's recent appearances at both the Super Bowl, marking the first time a sitting president has attended, and the Daytona 500 have some hoping he'll complete the sports trifecta with this hockey final, though current indications suggest he won't be attending. And that wraps up today's headline updates, where we've covered everything from Trump's groundbreaking IVF executive order to the ongoing DOGE saga with Elon Musk, a major court decision on student debt, and some fascinating developments in U.S.-Canada relations playing out both in politics and on the ice. And that wraps up today's headline updates, where we've covered everything from Trump's groundbreaking IVF executive order to the ongoing DOGE saga with Elon Musk, a major court decision on student debt, and some fascinating developments in U.S.-Canada relations playing out both in politics and on the ice. My friends, if you're enjoying the insights and the independent ethos we're dishing out here at Ranting Politics, don't be a stranger. Jump into the lively conversation on X. Give us a follow at RantingRP, or check us out at rantingpolitics.com and sign up for our newsletter or stop over to our all-new YouTube channel. We're always buzzing about the next big headline and love to see your takes on the fiasco that is politics. And while you've got that phone handy, Come on, I know it's in your reach. Do us a solid and tap that like and follow button on your podcast feed. Your support doesn't just boost our reach, it keeps real independent thought in the game against those giant media machines. We're also on all your favorite podcast platforms, from Apple Podcasts to Spotify and now Alexa. Hit that subscribe button for regular updates chock full of unfiltered analysis and all the news that's fit to rant about. This is JOC signing off, and thank you, our loyal listeners, for choosing Ranting Politics Headline Updates. We'll be back soon with the updates you need to navigate these interesting times. Until then, stay tuned, stay informed, and as always, stay free.
Is your home's landscaping, exterior style, or outdoor space ready for a transformation? Whether you're lakeside or curbside, make the most of your property with Garden and Grow Design, your premier digital landscape designers. At Garden and Grow Design, we specialise in increasing the value and beauty of your home by crafting elegant outdoor living spaces. Our experienced and creative designers use cutting-edge 3D technology to blend seasonal colours, perennial blooms and stylish hardscapes into your ideal garden. And the best part? It's all designed for minimal maintenance. Don't just imagine your perfect yard. See it first with our innovative digital designs. Whether it's a serene waterfront retreat or a chic patio for entertaining, we bring your outdoor dreams to life. Ready to grow? Visit www.gardenandgrowdesign.com to start your journey toward a breathtaking landscape today. Garden and Grow Design, cultivate beauty, cultivate life.